Kaloflahiatu, I'm Soraya Mangawa and welcome to BCN News. Our top news headlines for tonight: Premier Dalton Tangilangi signs new statement of partnership with New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, reaffirming close connections between Niue and Aotearoa, New Zealand. Officials of Team Niue to the Birmingham Games names flag bearers for the opening ceremony. And New Zealand's Ministry of Health, Dr. Parwaz, is assisting the Health Department with the island's COVID response, spoke to BCN News with some tips on how to minimize your chances of catching COVID. Leading our news tonight, there are no new cases of COVID-19. 2 previously active cases have now been considered, recovered and released from isolation. The island currently has a total of 3 active cases of COVID-19. And Niue remains on alert level yellow as there is no community transmission. Here's more on this story. 111 passengers arrived on Monday's flight this week. Day 1 testing was held on Tuesday this week and found no new cases of COVID-19 amongst the passengers. Day 3 testing was administered today. From Monday to Tuesday this week, the number of active cases were at 6 since last Saturday's update on the Niue COVID-19 government website. And on Wednesday, there was 1 recovered case, bringing the number of active cases down from 6 to 5. As of earlier today, a total of 2 active cases have been considered recovered and released from isolation, bringing the current total number of active cases on the island to 3. The total number of recovered cases is at 26, and the total number of COVID-19 that the island has detected since March 2022 this year is 29. Niue remains on national alert level yellow as there is no community transmission. Stay up to date with the Niue COVID-19 government website at covid19.gov.nu for more information. Premier Dalton Tangilangi and his delegation, including Minister of Finance Honourable Crossley Tatui, were officially welcomed to Aotearoa, New Zealand in Wellington yesterday. In his official visit, Premier Tangilangi was able to sign a new statement of partnership with New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, reaffirming the close relationship between Niue and Aotearoa, New Zealand. Here's Esther Bavihi with more.
According to a joint statement from Wellington, the new statement of partnership reflects Niue's long-term cooperation on priority areas such as climate change, economic resilience and improved prosperity, and of course the preservation of Niue's culture and language. The statement also highlights areas of renewed cooperation arising from the pandemic, notably the support for the health response and Niue's economic recovery. Premier Tangilangi said that the statement of partnership reaffirms the vision of our leaders under the Niue Constitution of 1974 and the continued obligation and support and assistance from New Zealand to Niue. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern said that the talks with Premier Tangilangi were a warm exchange of views on issues of importance to both countries, stating that Niue and Aotearoa, New Zealand share deep whakapapa connections and our bond remains strong. Prime Minister Ardern also acknowledged Niue's success in the management of COVID-19, keeping the island free of the virus for 2 years. She says that Niue's enviable vaccination rates, with more than 93% of those eligible boosted, will be crucial as we continue to respond to the pandemic. Prime Minister Ardern said Aotearoa, New Zealand has supported Niue since the outset of the pandemic through critical economic assistance and the health and border policy advice, as they stand ready to provide ongoing support to Niue if requested. Premier Dalton Tangilangi notes the challenges of the pandemic and climate change continue to place significant demands on Niue, but that the small island nation is learning to adapt. Premier Tangilangi says that New Zealand and Prime Minister Ardern's leadership has been an inspiration for the people of Niue with regard to how we manage COVID-19, climate change and global geopolitics.
In the lead up to the Birmingham 2022 Commonwealth Games, BCN News will provide weekly updates on Team Niue. Last weekend, the team leaders announced the flag bearers in a small event in Auckland. The two flag bearers are Olivia Buckingham from New Zealand and Travis Tapatuetoa from Australia. Here's more on this story.
Gold medalist, lawn bowler and the 2022 Australia Open's doubles champion Olivia Buckingham from Auckland, New Zealand was selected as the flag bearer for the opening ceremony. Buckingham's mother hails from the village of Avasele. And the boxer and bronze medalist at the 2019 Pacific Games in Samoa from Brisbane, Australia, whose parents hail from the village of Mutalau, is Team Niue's other flag bearer, boxer Travis Tapatuetoa. Team Niue's chef de mission, Tony Edwards, and the team manager Brad Etuata yesterday departed Auckland for Birmingham. The rest of the team will be leaving from Auckland this weekend. Despite BCN News' failed attempts to communicate with Team Niue leaders, an online media platform known as Inside the Games was able to speak with Team Niue's chef de mission, Tony Edwards. According to the article posted by the Inside the Games on Tuesday this week, Mr. Edwards said that it has been a challenging journey for the team. Edwards says that Niue is a small team, but like every event they go to with high hopes. And with a small population in Niue, they have to expand to Niueans abroad. And as much as they feel that in Niue they would like to take athletes from the island, it's also getting out there representing Niue and hoping that they bring back results, according to Edwards. Niue first competed at the Commonwealth Games in Manchester in 2002.
One of the public health doctors from the New Zealand Ministry of Health, Dr. Mariam Parwaz, is currently on the island supporting the Niue Health Department with its COVID-19 response. Dr. Parwaz was able to explain some of the key areas that the people of Niue can continue to contribute to keep the island safe and protected from COVID-19. Here's more on this story. While the island remains on National Alert Code Yellow, as there is no community transmission, Dr. Mariam Parwaz was able to provide support to the current health team.
The team here has done a fantastic job so far, but with the opening of QFT travel between New Zealand and Niue, it's an opportunity to update the protocols and processes that are already in place here.
Dr. Parwaz also highlighted 6 key areas that the government of Niue has been doing and that the people can contribute to continue to keep Niue safe and protected from the coronavirus.
The way I think about it, there's 6 things that the government of Niue has been doing and all of us can contribute to keep all of us in Niue as safe as possible from COVID. So the first one is vaccination. So the Pfizer vaccine that's available in Niue is very effective and really good at keeping people safe or minimizing the risk from hospitalization and deaths. Niue has a very highly vaccinated population. Over 99% have the 2 dose, over 93% have the 3 dose. So what that means is the chance of someone who gets COVID needing to go to hospital or dying is low, and that's excellent news. So that's the first key thing. The second one is masks, wearing well-fitted masks in indoor public places. When someone who has COVID is wearing a mask, the virus that they may be breathing gets trapped in the mask. So that means the risk of, say if I had COVID, passing it to someone else is low because the masks help protect us in reducing transmission. The third thing is ventilation. You can see the wind blowing, my hair's all blowing. Fresh air is really good. It means that whatever virus particles may be floating in the air, they just fly away with the fresh air. So when indoors in say like schools or churches or community halls, if windows and doors are open and fresh air is coming in, it helps circulate the air, make sure that if there's any virus, it just goes away. The fourth thing is physical distancing. So again, in indoor public places, if people can be at distance from each other, ideally 1.5 meters, that really helps make sure that one person can't spread the virus to the other person. The fifth thing is cleaning and disinfection. So that's That's something we've talked about many times in the COVID response, and that's making sure that we're using spray and wipe or bleach or Ajax, whatever you've got, to clean the high-touch surfaces in the house, tables, door handles, chairs, those kinds of things. And then the last thing, number 6, is the personal habits we can all have to keep ourselves safe. The number one key personal habit that I really want to share with everyone is if you have any symptoms that could be COVID, so things like runny nose, cough, fever, feeling tired, maybe runny poos or vomiting, that kind of stuff, stay home. So the number one key thing is if you have any symptoms, stay home, keep other people safe. So don't go to work, don't go to school, don't go to church. You can call the hospital, Niue Furu Hospital, at any time, 4100, to get advice. You can come to get a PCR test Monday to Saturday, but don't go outside. If you're sick, stay home.
Wearing masks is very important, says Dr. Mariam Parwaz, as it limits the risk of spreading the virus. But understanding the purposes of the different types of masks is also important.
So there's 3 different types of masks that are available. The first one is the cloth mask. So those are the masks that people can buy in the shops. They sometimes have some nice designs. The second mask is the blue surgical mask. So usually they're color blue. Sometimes they're in other colors, but generally blue. And then the third type of mask is what's called a N95 or KN95. In terms of how good they are, any type of mask is better than no mask. So if you've got something that you can use to cover your face, it's excellent. It's better than nothing. So I definitely encourage people to wear masks. The N95 mask is the best. The surgical mask is second best, and then the cloth mask is third. But nonetheless, whatever you've got at home, wear it.
Dr. Parwaz also explained that community cases are cases in the community that are not linked to the border. As long as we can link it back to the border, it's still a well-controlled response, and the public should continue with their usual habits, says Dr. Parwaz. Rest and hydration are very important for recovery from COVID-19, says the doctor.
Most people who have COVID can get better at home with rest and hydration. The main things is if someone does have COVID, the things to watch out for are if they're having trouble breathing, if they get chest pain, if they get a severe headache, if they suddenly become confused, or if any family member is worried, they think, this person doesn't sound like they normally are. That's when you should be calling the hospital and getting advice. But otherwise, most people should be able to manage at home.
Dr. Mariam Parwaz will be here on the island for the next 2 weeks. Acknowledgements were expressed by Acting Premier and Minister for Social Services, Honourable Sauni Tonga for the tremendous support fundraised to help the people of Tonga with their recovery response following the Hunga Ha'apai volcanic eruption and tsunami events that occurred earlier in the year. Approximately less than 36,700 New Zealand dollars were raised for the Tonga Relief Fund. Here's more on this story. Acting Premier Honourable Tongatule says that following the announcement of our Premier at the Pacific Island Forum on the contributions made to the Kingdom of Tonga in those catastrophic events earlier this year, I felt that it is also important to thank the organisations and people of Niue for showing solidarity and coming together to show our support for the sad events that affected the lives of the people of Tonga. A total of 36,902 New Zealand dollars funds were raised from the National Prayer Service held at Ecclesia Kerisiano Niue at Millennium Hall on the 26th of January this year, and at the Radiophone held at BCN on the 14th of February, with many donations made online. The funds will be sent directly to families in Tonga of Tongan nationals residing on the island. Honourable Tongatule says that we are most grateful to the resident Tonga community, Ecclesia Kerisiano Niue, and all of the many organisations and people who have made this fundraising event a success. Oe tulutulo maniue fekai. Over the weekend, BCN News was made aware of the cash flow problems facing the main church on the island, the Ekalesia Niue. It's understood that the financial woes of the church have been ongoing for many years. Esther Pavihi reports.
The cash flow problems of the Ekalesia is not new, and that the church has been known over the years to run out of money around the third quarter of the year. The pool of money for the stipends of the pastors, the head deacons and the retired or spouses of retired pastors is often depleted around the months of July and August. BCN News understands that the church's financial problems are known to the leaders of the respective village Ekalesia, and the deacons were to meet with the finance committee of the church, the Komisia Sihake, this week to find solutions to the church's financial woes. Some of the solutions proposed is for each village or Ekalesia to carry the stipend for their own respective pastors until October, when the Ekalesia Niue will receive the next large installment of funding to pay for the pastors. BCN News understands that some of the village Ekalesias are now calling for a change to the Komisia Sihake and to modernize the financial management system of the church. BCN News reached out to the deputy president of the Ekalesia but did not receive a response. It's understood that there are only two main events where the Ekalesia earn money every year to cover its operational costs and help it with its investment. In the first quarter of the year, around the months of April or May, is the Ahome and the Ahopenia Amina in October every year.
Air freight offloaded without forewarning is again frustrating local businesses on the island. Niue Chamber of Commerce Chief Executive Officer Catherine Papani has expressed the many concerns of local businesses on the island for their freight being offloaded in the past 3 weeks when it was supposed to arrive on the island. According to the Chief Executive Officer of the Niue Chamber of Commerce, Catherine Papani, in an email on Monday this week, said distressing news from businesses that again their freight has been offloaded and no forewarning provided to customers. Government of Niue has opened borders with QFT operating, but how are businesses expected to cater for providing needed services, products when they cannot get their freight, says Catherine. The concerns of local businesses over offloaded air freight has been a recurring problem for many years and was raised again with months ago by local mechanics who were waiting several weeks for the air freight. BCN News contacted Air New Zealand in May last year, and their response was that the freight market has changed considerably over the past year due to COVID-19, with 95% of international capacity cancelled globally. We're proud to be able to operate an A320 once a week into Niue, which is an important link for Niueans. What cargo is uplifted is typically determined by which product is booked by the shipper's freight forwarder. With limited capacity, we would ask that any urgent goods are flagged as such by the forwarder. One way to ensure the concerns of the local businesses over the freight issues is to have a seat at the discussions on the air services agreement. However, BCN News understands that the business community is not involved in the discussions of the air services agreement. The Academy for Women Enterprise of Niue launched its first Dream Builder program for 2022 at the Scenic Matavai Resort Conference Room last Saturday, a program which enables women who want to start a business and to help grow those with current businesses on the island. Here's more on this story. A beautiful day which the All Niue Dream Builder took place last Saturday. Facilitators of the launch and program were Jasmine Lee Vaha and Crystal Vilitama Smith. A number of women on Niue expressed their interest for the All Niue program when it was advertised in the previous weeks, and only a number of them were selected and who had attended the launch last Saturday. All under the United States Department of State, was established by the Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs in 2019 to provide women entrepreneurs with the knowledge, networks, and access they need to launch and scale successful businesses. All has expanded from 26 countries to 80 countries in 2021, including Niue, training more than 16,000 women entrepreneurs worldwide. The program will be conducted over a period of 14 weeks. And that is our news bulletin for tonight. Do join us again next Tuesday for our Wangahau Niue bulletin. Until then, wishing you all a safe weekend. Continue to be happy and be kind to one another. Kia monuina.